Hello, welcome to this Magicka Templar guide, more specifically Magicka Templar build guide for dungeons and format contents. Today I mostly want to show you like all builds I'm using into Trifecta videos and Nuke videos. This is a guide mostly focused on the most optimal builds DPS wise, Magplar being passively the safest class in dungeon due to their insane healing passive on jab. You don't really need to invest at all into survivability most of the time, as long as you play correctly. All setups showed here are the one I use for Dungeon Nukes and Trifectas. You can notice they are like mostly triad oriented. I'm using Toggle and Trashen most of the time. This is totally optional, just replace Trashen by Highsart if you want to be safer. It's the second best option in my opinion. Toggle as well isn't mandatory at all, since the nerf is just funny prebuff more than anything else. If you don't wish to be vampire or just wanna be safer, remove it. I'm also gonna include a console setup, or just for people who don't really care and just want like all-in-one setups. It can do everything. First of all, I always recommend to use Magicka Bystad Food. You will need this health pool for Trashen. If you don't run it, however, you can use Magicka Parse Food. It's gonna make you able to sustain pretty much every fight. Make sure to lower your mag a bit low though, to have optimal burst and beam potential with Basse. There is some niche stam-intensive fights where Tristat can be interesting, like Balor Guard mode, but it's pretty niche. You want to use spell power pots most of the time. If there is a Jaganite that can give you in-use weapon, you can run Arisen pots to build up more ult for Balor, but it's pretty expensive. The funny options for Acuity Nukes is to use potions causing you self-damage. This damage cannot crit, so it will always make you get an equity stack each second. It will allow you to reach the last equity stack, which shouldn't in theory be possible normally. This potion can give you like 1.5 seconds more equity uptime, which can be really insane if it matches with your beam timing. You want, of course, Thief Mundus, and be High Elf or Dark Elf. I'm only gonna name champion points that are mandatory in my opinion, then you can do whatever you want to fill the rest. On Trash you can go two different ways. Either you run Sulxan, or you run Plaguebreak. Sulxan is a very broken set that allows you to reach the crit cap on Trash and can carry on to the next boss fight. This is in general the best option. However, if you wanna optimize the Trash more, you can go for Plaguebreak instead. This is a very particular set as it can't crit, so you want to optimize for raw stats instead of crit to maximize your Plaguebreak proc. You will apply the debuff with each jab tick, and your goal is mostly to jab everything, then focus the lowest HP target. It's gonna blow you up and create a chain reaction that's gonna explode everything. This is the best things you can do on Trash damage wise, but Sulxan gives you a very strong prebuff for bosses, so this is your call to decide which one you want. You want to use Proxy, Cloak, Solar Barrage and Acceleration as prebuff. Cast them before the tank engage the Trash. It's never worth it in the Trash itself. Once in the pack, you want to do Wall, Orb, Shards, and then jab until everything is dead. If you think the pack is big enough to take more than 8 seconds, you can cast Ritual first. If you think the pack is gonna die instantly, just do Orb, Spear, and jab. For nukes that gonna last 10 seconds or less, you want to use the 4-piece layer setup. You want to prebuff Toggle, Barrage, Cloak as well. Make sure to not do any direct damage on your front bar. Then drop Destro and do Wall, Light, Spear, and then bar swap, proc equity, and jab and beam until your target die. For 15-second nukes or an AoE nuke, you want to use Elfbane. It's similar gameplay, just make sure to not drop Destro before the fight is actually starting, because Elfbane doesn't work out of fights anymore. Always prebuff Channel Acceleration before. If you can prebuff more before the boss spawn, here is my prebuff bar that I used in Black Rose World Record Push and in Maw of Lockrage World Record Push. The add-on Without Wardrop has an option to automatically unslot channel after you prebuffed it. It's a very great option, I would 100% recommend to use it. For bosses where you don't wish to use a nuke setup, I would recommend to go for Basse Deadly Strike. I would recommend to run Ritual as a Basse gestion tool to control your mag. Don't cast it if you are afraid of going dry before the end, or recast it the whole fight to lower your mag for optimal Basse if you think you can handle it. This is an alternative version. If the fight is gonna be long, like a long hardmore boss for example, with a 2-hand back bar and the use of False God, you are pretty much guaranteed to always be able to deal damage. If you don't feel comfortable with Stampede, just slot a Maelstrom staff and do heavy attack if needed, but DPS is gonna be much lower. As universal setup, I would recommend Basia Sulxan with a sustain and a speed CP slottable. If you don't wanna bother with Basia management or just have, like, go sustain, go fast without thinking about it, just use False God. It's barely behind damage-wise and it's way more comfortable to play. Okay, so thanks for listening. If you have any question, feel free to ask in comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the bell, and share this video.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away, but I've known you too long.